my channel. In today's video, I'll be sharing 3 super easy summer decor DIYs using my Cricut Maker and also the Cricut Easy Press 2. The Cricut Maker is the first Cricut machine that I've ever tried and I am absolutely loving it. Before we get into today's projects, I do want to say thank you so much to Cricut for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get right into today's DIYs. For the first DIY today, I'll be making a Hello Summer sign. For this project, I used my Cricut Maker, 2 24-inch by 7-inch by 1/2 inch thick pieces of wood. I also used 2 7-inch by 1.5 inch by 1/2 inch thick pieces of wood. Bee fabric from Hobby Lobby and also burlap fabric from Hobby Lobby, Craftsmart wood stain in brown, white cotton cord, white Cricut vinyl, Cricut transfer tape, a hammer, nails, and my hot glue gun. I first start by opening up my Cricut design space on my phone, and then I just go down to all of my saved projects. I have a ton of projects already made that I created on my computer, but I like using the Bluetooth feature and opening up all of the projects on my phone and then just making them from there. Since I don't have a ton of space next to my computer to actually plug my Cricut into my computer, I like using this Bluetooth method. And if you're wanting to use this Hello Summer design that I'm using in this project, there is a link in the description box. Now that everything's all set, I'm pressing my white Cricut vinyl onto the light grip Cricut mat that came with my Cricut Maker. I'm then setting the mat into place, feeding it into the Cricut Maker, and once everything's all set and ready to go, I'm pressing the C Cricut button to start creating my design. After the Cricut Maker is all done cutting out my design, I'm then peeling off the excess vinyl from around my design, and I'm also using the weeding tool that came with my Cricut. And I'm still fairly new to the Cricut Maker. This is the first Cricut machine I've ever had, so I'm still learning the best tips and tricks to peeling off vinyl and other materials. So I like to take my time when doing this so that I don't have any mess ups. Next, I'm going to be attaching all of my wood pieces together, and to do that I'm placing hot glue on the back side of my top smaller piece of wood, and then I'm pressing that on top of the 2 larger pieces of wood that are sitting on the bottom. And I'm just using my measuring tape to make sure that those top pieces of wood are sitting an inch out from the outer edge of the bottom pieces of wood. And I continue that step for the other side as well. To ensure that all of my wood stays attached, I'm using some nails and I'm hammering them into the back side of my wood, and I did 1 nail per wood piece on each side. Now that everything is all put together, I'm then staining all of my wood. The stain I'm using is the Craftsmart wood stain in the color brown. I know that I've been using this stain a lot in my recent videos, but I just love it so much. I picked it up at Michael's and it is a water-based stain, so it doesn't have all like those nasty smells that an oil-based stain would have, and it dries super fast. I did only go over all of my wood 1 time with this stain. Now I'm cutting all of my fabric that I'm going to be using to create the banner on my sign. This bee fabric I picked up from Hobby Lobby. I'm cutting to 7 inches in length, and then I'm cutting it in 1-inch strips. Now, not all of my strips were exactly an inch thick, but they were all roughly around an inch in thickness. And I continued that same step until I had several strips of this bee fabric all cut out. And then I also did the same thing for the burlap fabric that I also picked up from Hobby Lobby. I cut them into 7 inches in length by 1 inch in thickness and just cut that out until I had several of those as well. Next, I'm using this cotton cord. I'm getting it all ready for my banner. I place a knot on one end, and then I'm taking the cotton cord and just wrapping it around the front of my sign, making sure I have it the length that I want it, cutting it down to size, and then tying a knot on the other end of the cord. Now it's time to actually start creating my banner. I'm first starting with a strip of this bee fabric. I'm tying it in a knot around the cotton cord. I'm then taking a strip of the burlap fabric, tying it in a knot around the cord right next to the bee fabric, and then I'm alternating between those 2 fabrics until I have them completely covering my strip of cotton cord. And then I ended up going back through and trimming down some of the strips because they were a little too long for my liking, so I just quickly trimmed those down a bit. Next, I'm going back to the design that I created on my Cricut. I'm taking the Cricut transfer tape and placing it over top of my word hello, and then I'm using the scraper tool that came with my Cricut Maker, and I'm pressing that vinyl onto the tape and then peeling off the transfer tape that now has my word hello attached to it, placing that exactly on my sign where I want it, and then using the scraper tool once again to press that vinyl onto my wood. Once I have it all in place, I'm then just peeling back that transfer tape. I'm then doing the same thing for the word summer that I had cut out on my Cricut. I'm cutting the transfer tape down to size, placing it sticky side down onto my word summer, using the scraper tool once again to make sure that the vinyl adheres to the tape really nicely before I peel the tape off with my vinyl word attached, and then I'm just pressing that word summer down exactly where I want it on my sign, then using the scraper tool once again to press the vinyl onto my wood before peeling back the tape. The Cricut Maker is the first Cricut machine that I've ever tried, and I am absolutely loving it, you guys. The vinyl that you see me using here is super easy to work with, and I'm really excited to create projects using some of the other 300 materials that Cricut can cut, like leather, paper, cardstock, fabrics, vinyl like you see me doing here, and I'm most excited to use my Cricut to cut balsa wood. Now that I have all of my vinyl on, I'm now going to be attaching the banner to the top right hand side of my sign. I'm placing hot glue on the back side of the sign and then just pressing that cotton cord on top of the hot glue to attach it. Then to add just a little something extra, I placed this bee that I picked up from Dollar General on my banner. Here is my Hello Summer sign all finished. I am super happy with how this one turned out. I ended up just placing it on one of my tables, but if you wanted to, you could put hangers on the back to make it a wall piece. Now for DIY number 2, I'm making a Fresh Flower Market pillow cover. I used my Cricut Maker. I also used my Cricut Easy Press 2, an 18-inch by 18-inch pillow cover from Hobby Lobby, the Cricut iron-on vinyl in the color teal from this pack of iron-ons. I also used this white Cricut iron-on from this pack of iron-ons. I first started by opening up my Cricut design space on my phone. Again, using the mobile app is the most convenient for me personally, and I went down to the projects that I already have saved in my design space and just went down to the project that I'm using to make it. And for this specific project, I'm using 2 of Cricut's designs that they already have made on their design space, and then I just put those 2 designs together to create this one design. Since this is an iron-on, I'm making sure that I'm mirroring the image, and then I'm selecting that it's an iron-on before I cut it out. If you're wanting to use this specific design, I do have a link for it in the description box. Next, I'm taking this teal iron-on and I'm placing it onto the light grip mat that came with my Cricut Maker. I'm then placing the mat into my Cricut, feeding it into the machine, and then pressing the C Cricut button so that it'll start cutting out my design. Now that I have all of my vinyl cut out, I'm then removing all of the excess vinyl from around my design cutout. This everyday vinyl iron-on is probably the easiest to remove the excess vinyl from around your design. I am so excited to use this iron-on vinyl for so many different projects. I have a lot of different t-shirts planned that I want to make, and especially seasonal pillows. This is going to save me so much money, and instead of just searching for the kind of pillow cover that I want, I can just create my own in design space. I'm now pressing my white everyday iron-on vinyl onto my light grip mat, placing it into my Cricut machine so that it can cut out my second design that I'm going to be placing onto my pillow cover. After the Cricut Maker is all finished cutting my design, I'm then peeling back all of the excess vinyl from around my design, and then I'm also using the weeding tool that came with my Cricut Maker to get any of the excess vinyl from around all of my letters. Next, I'm using my Easy Press 2. I'm turning it on, and it's already at 400 degrees from a previous project that I did, so I'm just resetting the temperature to 315 degrees since that is the recommended temperature for my pillow cover. I'm then using my Easy Press to warm up the area where I'm going to be applying my iron-on vinyl. Cricut recommends doing this for about 5 seconds to get any of the wrinkles and moisture out of your material. I'm then placing my iron-on sticky side down in the center of my pillow cover, and then I'm setting my time for my Easy Press to 30 seconds since that is the recommended time for the iron-on vinyl. I then placed my Easy Press over top of my iron-on and then started the timer. I did have to work in sections since the surface of the Easy Press was a little bit smaller than my iron-on. After I've gone over the entire front with my Easy Press, I'm then flipping my pillow cover over and I'm doing it on the back side for an additional 15 seconds. This also is recommended on the Cricut website. You can also find an entire heat guide for different times and temperatures for all different kinds of materials on the website as well. After my iron-on has cooled but is still a little bit warm to the touch, I'm then just peeling back that top film. And then for the second design that I'm using on my pillow cover, it's the Fresh Flower Market design that I already cut out earlier in the video. I'm placing it right in the center of the wreath that I've already attached. I'm then using my Easy Press to adhere everything on at 315 degrees, and then my timer is again at 30 seconds. Once I have that on, I'm then flipping the pillow cover over and doing an additional 15 seconds at 315 degrees on the back side. After I've let my iron-on cool down, but it's still warm to the touch, I'm then peeling back that top film. For the very last step, I'm taking an old 18-inch by 18-inch pillow that I already had at home and filling the pillow cover. If you don't have a pillow at home, you can always purchase pillow forms. They sell them at a ton of different stores. Here is my pillow cover all finished. This one is perfect for summer. I just love how it turned out. And I'm so excited to use my Cricut Maker and Easy Press 2 to create so many more custom pillow covers each season. Now for the third and final DIY, I'm making Infusible Ink Coasters. For this one, I used my Cricut Maker, my Cricut Easy Press 2, the Cricut Ceramic Coasters, and also the Cricut Infusible Ink. For this project, I once again opened up my Cricut design space on my phone and then went to my projects and then just chose the coaster that I'm going to be cutting first. All of the coaster designs that I'm using are already ones that are provided on the Cricut design space. Since I'm using the Infusible ink, I am making sure to mirror all of my images. I am going to be using all 4 colors that came in the Infusible ink pack that I'm using today. I placed the first color on my light grit mat that was provided with my Cricut Maker and then fed it into the machine and started cutting out my design. After my design was all done being cut out, I then peeled off the Infusible ink sheet from my grip mat and then just cut that sheet down a little bit so it'd be easier for me to peel the excess Infusible ink sheet from around my design. I did end up using my weeding tool to get the excess Infusible ink out of the inside of my flower design. Keep in mind that Cricut does not recommend using a weeding tool with the Infusible ink. It's recommended to just use your fingers, so keep that in mind if you're going to be using Infusible ink for any of your future projects. Next, I'm turning on my Easy Press and I'm setting the temperature to 400 degrees. This is the recommended temperature for the Infusible ink and the coasters. I'm then taking my Infusible ink design and I'm placing it ink side down onto the front of my coaster. I'm then using the butcher paper that was provided with my Infusible ink over top of the coaster and then pressing my Easy Press 2 on top of the butcher paper and setting the timer at 60 seconds. After the 60 seconds was up, I then removed the Easy Press. I let everything cool down and then I removed the butcher paper and the backing for the Infusible ink. For the next 3 coasters, I did them exactly the same as I did the first coaster, and all of the designs that I used on today's coasters can be found on the Cricut design space. Here are my coasters all finished. The Infusible ink colors are so vibrant and beautiful, and these coaster designs are perfect for summertime. I really hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share it. If you're not subscribed, I hope that you will consider subscribing. Be sure to hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of my future videos. And I would love to know, have you guys ever used a Cricut machine? And if so, what types of projects do you like making with your Cricut? I also want to thank Cricut again so much for sponsoring today's video.